Nowlin, Liz Roberts, Emily Blair, and John Kropa.
John Kropa, I think?
Is it? Yeah, Kropa.
Our first reader will be Ryan Nowlin.
Or it's more like, I pronounce it Nowlin. Nowlin. No, I don't even. Either way.
Nowlin. Ryan's poetic talent lies in his ability to craft subtle, yet incongruous musings from a place of dispassion. It works. Still, I have at times, and in not so many words, accused him of being a sound poet. This would happen in emails, loaded with my irritation and not understanding what he was getting at. Then realized I just needed to listen differently, which meant, in essence, listen without expecting an answer, which is something we can all probably benefit from doing. Listen without expecting an answer. Ryan's tender observations are Not Far From Here, which is the name of the second chapbook collection, due out sometime this summer. Welcome, Ryan Nowlin.
Thank you, Lydia, for that really warm introduction. Nice.
It was from here.
Thank you. And well, I thank everybody for coming out this evening to Molasses Books as well. And I wanted to start actually by reading just a couple poems by a book by Joseph Saravallo. And just to mention, by the way, that I got an extra copy of this book in the mail, so if anybody's interested in getting it or just having this for free, I can give it whoever's interested, because I already have a book like this. So
Matt doesn't like that.
well, it's interesting. I just give you some interesting examples of some of the work that he does, and just why I'm reading it is because he's relatively unknown in New Jersey, and that's where I live. And in fact, he's more known in the area of the Poetry Project, more or less, than he is anywhere else. And some of his early lyrics are really extraordinary. So I thought I'd read just a brief opening poem called Drunken Winter. Oak, oak, like, it then, cold, some wild paddle, so sky then. Flee, you say, geese, geese, the boy, June of winter, of again, oak sky. And one more poem that I thought was really nice. I attended the reading Joseph Saravallo book, the book opening at St. Mark's Poetry Project just a little while ago, and they read, a lot of different readers read selections, and this one was noteworthy as well. Lighthouse. All this summer fun, the big waves and waiting, the moon is broken for the moon to come out and revive the water. You look and you want to watch as men feel the beer breaking on their lips, and women seem like the sun on your little back. Where are you closer to everything? In the plants, in the photograph, or the little heart that's not used to beating like the waves foam? A wasp is looking for a hole in the screen. No, there is no man in the lighthouse. There's no woman there. But there is a light there. It is a bowl. And I think how complete you are in its light. Flash, flash. And I think of how our room will smell. You lying on one bed and we in the other, facing the flash, flash. Okay. So I will start reading some of my work, and that work will include poems from soon-to-be published chapbook, which will come out later on in the summertime. And I'll start reading with a poem called Examples. Examples fall away, other words with their stubborn after-images, aloft is false, up in the air, these insatiable alphabets, this space with its false bottom. You'd think something more remarkable is down there, how transparency may hide, lying low, obscuring the professional and personal connections one enjoys, does one? Help from friends matters dearly. Let's leave it at that. This is called Old and New. Something you said in passing about how we no longer can tell the seasons by the fruit we find at the market. Independently, I'm still riveted to the view of the ocean and the beach ball. The wind doesn't stop. Without identity, it is lost. Paper is scarce. If we use less, we'll have little to say. I guess there's something practical to learn in the nursery. Old photographs stuck in books tell us what exactly. Or old coins, the Indian head. Obviously, there's a no and a yes. Pick one and give me back a quarter. My affairs will turn out badly, the sky papered over with flimsy nuances. They cross the limit, touching upon absence. You'd think I'd be used to it by now, the rain stealing the light, girls in galoshes waiting for the drugstores to open. This one is called Digression, and it's also based on a book by the memoir, actually by Joe Lazur's memoir, Digressions on a Theme by Frank O'Hara. Yes, things turned out exactly like you said they would. An emergency was a future imagined, not the cat corpse at your feet. In those days, we didn't worry about anything. Mildred would drop by and leave a trail of used Q-tips through the apartment, which testified to her thoroughness as a cleaning lady. Sun flooded the rooms and the adjacent UN building in the morning, waking you and the representatives, who would look out their windows and wave to you. There was nothing to vote on that day, real and unreal separated as sleep departed. Too bad you couldn't find a way back into that dream where you shared a cigarette with someone and an inside joke about an unupholstered revolution. This one's called Open Air. And I wrote this poem, it had kind of its origin in a few different ways. I was reading through Robert Duncan's HD book, kind of just because I happened to be reading it, and I've been reading actually this new biography by Lisa Jorneau. So I have been kind of interested a little bit in Robert Duncan's life and his work. And the other source of this poem came from an article in the New Yorker by basically some ethicist, a moral philosopher in the New Yorker. I forgot his name though. He's had some interesting things to say about how one experiences time as such. Open air, the new life in rooms showing us superimposed. On and out of it like a deep-sea jewel, squirming in a net with variegated tendrils. Only this, a break with the past doesn't mean come to an end. Those influenced by you take your advice. Parallel rays at either end of day. You wait for hours reading a book. For the right weather, right light. Avenue of cypresses on hand. A cafe, no less full than usual, people unseen but touchable like glass. Rendezvous, named for a mountain, snow drifting with no endeavor, long channeled, a result of your own private theme like themes. So this is a poem is a little bit on a lighter note. This is called Semi-Charmed Life, and I wrote this sometimes I write poems that are based on what I read and what I experience intellectually, and then there are things that I write that are more experiential. So, in this one, I wrote this soon after a weekend getaway in Poconos. during the wintertime. The sun looks weird squinting through the snow. People carve a series of S's down a slope. Of course, there would be rustic houses with smoke curling from thatched roofs. No lungs have been permanently damaged. Books are arranged by color, evenly spaced on the shelves. You could live and die between those books. Is it just me, or does the snow really make gravity more brave? Marriage is hardly a new thing. After the second time, you know exactly where in the snow to plant your feet and not get stuck. Far be it from me to talk you into or out of something humdrum, like turning a sharp corner once in a while. And yet our capacity for stillness may be ironic in that what we once said seems historic. Anywhere I wander. Anywhere I wander in this soft June, if only to traipse through rain-splattered trash, with all its yeses and nos, they come back to me as I go along like a bird staring into the day of her. How do flies die? Virginia said she liked the word breach. And a name in colored letters floated in the portico, so a word that once existed faded by the end of the day and was gone. The breakfast rolls shuffled across the boulevard. After experience, there was a lack of experience. Look in the underbrush one of these mornings, the niche is there. My friends, not real friends, but friends come upon by happenstance and adventures I never had, chose to ignore me. That's the way it went. I wanted to live my life in such a way that each moment expressed at least some connection to the one that preceded it. And this is to you. And I wanted to also develop this poem as a response to the German word Liebestod, which is loosely translated as love death, but really in a way there really is no exact equivalent to that word. So it's also the last area in Wagner's opera Tristan und Isolde. I was dying of boredom when you called. Thanks. The day was overdetermined with schedules and plans, a trek across end winter grasses and roads strewn with bits of foolscap. So few words were actually chosen. How I want to drink after the imponderable chapters. And you are that which I've never been able to hang up on, even when the advice you pass on seems just okay. A whispering art when I speak with my back up over vast distances into the rare concavity of brick walls. My voice is refractive. The line has never been straight, but it never goes dead. And I'll read two more poems, two more recent poems that I've this one is something I wrote in response to a poet he read here in mid-May, Johnny Lorenz. He's a translator poet, and he wrote a poem. I read a poem actually with a soundtrack accompaniment of a mourning dove. And unfortunately, I don't have the soundtrack available for you this evening, but I'm sure you. So this is my response to that poem, Mourning Dove. Throughout the day, the plaintive call of the mourning dove. What's its verbal equivalent? The more you hear your own name, the less it means. We drop all pretense, stillness finally. On my desk, two aloe plants, yellowing paper, cinnamon, head of an evening moth. When did time become something to discard late at night with certain other perishables? Under the bright light, the pickle jar, peeled peaches in the morning. Next door, the house with shoulders half raised, an apology saying, "This is how we are made." And this last poem is something that's really new. I sort of wrote a draft of this in the last few days, and I just want to try it out. It's called Aphelion, and it's a term for the when the sun is furthest from the earth, and that's actually the high point of summer, which is July 4th. It's bubble dust, loon cirrus shade on dripping Saturday's firm limbs, gorgeous conflict. Oh, I must have left my keys inside, at least I know where to find them. I'm puzzling. Suddenly, as an indication, bouquet, a word so infrequent, so erring. To set one's heart upon a vacation in New Mexico, but then fall ill and not be able to go. My haircut from 8 years ago wouldn't suit me now, so why should my wants and needs regarding my love life be dictated by old habits that simply don't fit anymore? No, there can be never enough evenings, specifically missed, all the good we can fathom, all the shelter we could ask for. Futurity, almost a plausible thing to hope for. And that would be it.
Wonderful.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Next reader, thank you for writing.
Thank you.
Next
Thank you.
reader is Liz Roberts. She's a poet and anti-war activist. Liz carves a universe where joy stings, light is muscular, and aquamarine expands. She recently worked on a collaborative essay exploring mass suffering in light of modern-day dangers. It seems Liz is not afraid of the inside dangers of things. Liz begins an MFA program in creative writing at Brooklyn College this fall. Welcome, Liz Roberts.
So nice to be here. Thanks, Brian, for coordinating this lovely event. You started with examples, I think. I'm starting with exempling. There, then, the flouncy, bouncing morning, poetry a thing in the ankle, rankling to attain the light in magnolia. What the ultimate conceit? To say you breathe verse, the air more acid. You argue with the jerking train cars, looking out the kitchen window quietly. You spy the early plum leaf buds. You imagine the sideways world creaking to a halt. The naive conceit, just born, the bird hour, the concomitant, mulch and slick worm, amber day, give. She, upright, holds the book like hymnal, the morning ride, a catechism, cracking her gum despite all prettiness, the spirit conceit, to say you breathe all letters, the page more ample in holy oath and parallax. There will be a way to unlock it. Until then, fiddle, pry, poke, the soft white fur of the twitching, itching leg, the licking, a mauling, upsurge of refusal. Oh, the state, each day taking a terrible stance, advantage, a life, a sovereign other place, blocking the machine, the holy clocking in of the conscious. In the totalizing way of methodology, common sense can also guide, outside the stupor, outside the lie, either the people toting Glocks, the grim, vengeful step into theaters and schools, or the people locking down. She always emphasized Marx was scientific. Plug the commons into a computer model. There must be algorithms to show the gleaming possible. We each fit as key. Commute. My sentence. The sun slit, pouring fire, a series of seas, one drawing out through the other, stand away, commodity, fall to high earth, the B, the Q, brand identity for Brooklyn? I was born here, came back twice, take leaving for granted, must leave, must love, the ersatz, voices debrief. We're gonna get our nails done, get dressed and everything, just saying. Personal belongings, have a safe day, remain alert. Listen, the sun, an aperture, the early moons, an eagle eye through which the Chrysler building passes. Done marching for the day, brink of overage and outing, ebony antidote, your hooligan house, a palpable prize. Careen and sputter, I knew you. In your tiki town, loyalists will claim the aggregate, an authentic harbor, an axle and lobe, a lie in the burrow. Those assholes who think they can save us with better design, excoriate, then slash and burn. The bottom must be laid with compassion and logic. Build from there, hen house or a people's palace. Scherzo or schizoid. Sweet leaf and molly blossom, the shelter of purr and though, not a military tribunal, not an offshore prison, not the hurried halcyon, strange attractor, tarnished erectors, twee and poi, ragamuffin and tinsel, a bungalow, a lamb to be left alone to grow fat and woolly and old, the shelter of neglect and hidden robin hopping cedar planks, to be left alone in sunny glass spaces, to dream. The job is to dream. As poet, proximal song, the shelter of thrush and loose strife, Was the soft, hysterical chatter the neighbor's captive budgies all along? Not the paranoid state vamping? The goose step of capital through your neighborhood and neighboring small countries? This is from some found language in a New York Times article on February 20th, page C34. The way of story on the heels of empire, the forecast, a diadem of noble stars, inline skates and the flame of hope, fast as they hustle a sword dance, fallow and fan out, sweep in with a clatter, merciless coup, pick up and cherish, light or soft bohemia. Buddha would have killed it as a couples counselor. Absolution is one forgetting day away. All of my hours steady for the cheeping sparrows. 2 a.m. is grim. It's the something is grave hour, the when do you give in and say missing hour, the conversion to fear. Who do I call? The teeming city and fucked up trains, needle in a piss-soaked haystack, oblivious return. Fear to fury. Alexander made this little contraption, see? Words of contrition are like olives offered after dessert. Rewind, repeat, cut the tape. The bright garden tells me, get a worry doll. Don't jump to conclusions. Expect pink out the window. The dogwood delicate coos, forget. Go to bed sooner. Morning will teach you a thing or two. Trust. Take a page out of the cat's book. Every day is forgetting day. Goldfish in mind. That's for my partner who has a tendency to come home very late and not call. Attempts remnant. The earth elicits something akin to feeling, a new nevering, an utmost errata. Warplanes inch along the diorama. After you clean, the specter comes. Death is a drama queen, something honeyed in my touch, the ink smell lugubrious. This is my first villanelle, and I must say it's a strange form, but it's kind of fun. Any breath a bird in spring, over the edge and toppled cart, the ample beck of falling. Artless anger the hours bring, rushing crystals the spilling heart. Any breath a bird in spring, saint in